What happens to physical matter at the moment of resurrection? Is the mortal body destroyed, or is it transformed into something beyond what we can presently imagine? My name is Dallas James. I am a translator of the Urim Thummim Version Bible and the principal researcher at Heart's Two Fathers Publishing. For over 50 years, I have worked with this translation, and for the past several years, I have been testing a hypothesis that prayer-guided random draws from the UTV corpus produce statistically non-random thematic clustering. The protocol I use is called Shield 14, and the results have been extraordinary. On April 13th, 2026, I conducted 5 independent draws on a single subject, the transphysical resurrection of the body. Each draw randomly selected 100 verses from 34,211 verses in the corpus. Cryptographic entropy, pre-registered keywords, false discovery rate correction, every safeguard a researcher could ask for. All 5 draws returned affirmative verdicts. All 5 registered what the protocol calls extreme anomaly on the guidance detection indicator. In Draw 2, which asked about the theological significance of burial linens left behind at resurrection, achieved 5.03 sigma. That is the highest sigma value in the entire transphysical research program. To put that in perspective, 5 sigma is the threshold particle physicists use to declare a discovery. That is what the burial linens question produced. Let me walk you through what the 5 draws revealed. Draw 1 asked the question, what does Scripture reveal about the transformation of physical matter into glorified substance? The lead verse was from the Passover legislation. The lamb shared according to the capacity of each household. And from the 100 verses that followed, a 3-movement framework emerged. The first movement, transformation, is covenantal, not alchemical. Matter is not changed by some mystical process. It is glorified by appointed use within the covenant community. The Passover lamb is not transmuted. It is consumed according to divine proportion. The second movement, transformation, is agricultural, not mechanical. You sow not that body that will be, but bear grain. That is verse 32,340 from the UTV, a direct parallel to 1 Corinthians 15. The seed goes into the ground as one thing and comes up as something new, but there is continuity of identity. The same holds for the resurrection body. The third movement, transformation, is relational, not self-generated. The glory of YHWH appeared precisely where there was no seed, no fig, no vine, no pomegranate, and no water to drink. Glory shows up in the barren place. The glorified substance is not matter that has become inherently radiant. It is matter indwelt by divine presence. Covenantal, agricultural, relational, that is the taxonomy. Draw 2 asked, what is the theological significance of burial linens left behind at resurrection? The lead verse was devastating in its simplicity. Lo, they all will wax old as a garment. The moth will eat them up. The burial linens are the garment of the old nature. To leave them behind is to testify that the one who occupied them has moved beyond the reach of decay. This draw hit 5.03 sigma. 11 Dominion triad hits in 100 verses. The Segula marker, the treasured possession marker, spiked to 213% of baseline. The protocol identified the burial linens as an election sign. The one who exits the linens is the treasured possession of YHWH. And for the Shroud of Turin, the implications are direct. The linen cloth bearing the image is the burial garment that waxed old. The image encoded upon it is the residual evidence of the resurrection event. The shroud is the memorial that the Holy Great One visited the earth and departed the grave. Draw 3 asked about the relationship between divine light and the resurrected body across all of Scripture. This draw returned the strongest directional polarity of the entire series. The polarity balance index was plus 2.862 at a p-value below 0.01. 3 direct textual hits. Sela confirmed. The answer is not ambiguous. Divine light is not a metaphor for the resurrection body. It is its ontological substrate. Elohim is light, and in him is no darkness at all. The resurrection body is composed of that light. Draw 4 explored earthquake phenomena accompanying divine manifestation. This was the weakest draw of the 5, and I report that honestly. 62% convergence. No direct textual hits. But the guidance detection indicator was still extreme anomaly. The draw told me something I needed to hear. Earthquake is a subsidiary phenomenon. It accompanies the covenantal encounter, but it is not the main event. The main event is the transformation itself. Draw 5 asked about the sea-body principle of 1 Corinthians 15, verses 42 through 44. This draw showed the highest priesthood elevation in the series, 148.5%. The sea-body principle is a priestly transformation. The mortal body, sown in corruption, is the seed. The resurrection body raised and in corruption is the priest who serves in the eternal temple. The lead verse was a census of temple servants returned from exile, the Nethinims, numbered at 392, counted and restored for sacred duty. That is what resurrection is, a return from the captivity of death into consecrated service. Every individual counted, none lost. And this draw shared something with draw 2 that I want you to hear. The Segula marker, the treasured possession marker, spiked to 213% on both draws. Identical. The protocol identified both the linens that are shed and the seed body that emerges as election signs. Together, they form a single theological event. The Segula sheds the temporal covering and emerges in glorified form. What is left behind and what comes forth are two sides of the same coin. Now here is what ties it all together. These 5 draws join the 7 I conducted on April 3rd and 4th, 2026, which examined the September 5th, 2019 dream vision and the Shroud of Turin as parallel witnesses to the same event. That gives us 12 independent draws on transphysical resurrection theology, 12 random samples, 12 affirmative verdicts, sigma values ranging from 3.70 to 5.03. GDI extreme anomaly across the board. The math transmutation baselines held perfectly stable through every draw. The corpus did not drift. The anomalies are real departures from a fixed, verified baseline. Let me give you the cross-draw pattern that emerged. Draws touching the substance of the resurrection body, the linens, the light, the seed body, all triggered Segula elevation. The body itself is the treasured possession, but draws touching the mechanism or physical accompaniment. The transformation process, the earthquake, peaked on the inheritance axis instead. The process of getting there is the inheritance being claimed. The protocol distinguished between the thing itself and the road to the thing. That distinction was not programmed. It was discovered. This is not speculation. This is not allegory. This is the convergent witness of Scripture, confirmed by statistical mathematics, grounded in the forensic evidence of the Shroud of Turin, and anchored by a dream vision in which I saw with my own eyes and arm become transparent, its internal structures composed entirely of colored light. The physical is not abolished, but fulfilled. The mortal is not discarded, but raised. The dust is not despised, but brought to bow before the King. This is the revelation. Glorification is covenantal consecration, resurrection transformation, and divine indwelling, all affirmed by the Father through the convergent witness of the text and the confirmed anomaly of the draw. I am Dallas James. This has been the glorified substance. Thank you for listening.